Hello and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Local Leaders Podcast provides a platform for successful business owners to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, and their ideas in order to help our listeners achieve more success in their business and in their lives. Get ready, another great show is coming up. Hey, good morning and welcome to another episode of the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson, and I am excited today to be here with Chris Davis of Pita Wheel. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Hey, we are, I'm really, well, I said I was super excited is I'm a North Carolina guy, and I've got a fellow North Carolinian here with me who's got a couple of Pita Wheels in Gastonia and Dallas, North Carolina. And again, I want to welcome you, Chris, and thank you for your time today. And if you would, do you want to share a little bit about Pita Wheel and kind of tell us the story?
Yeah, sure. So after college, pretty much back in 2012, I've been in the restaurant business forever. So as soon as I graduated college, I decided to get back in the restaurant business like a fool. So I was trying to get out of it by going to school, but I ended up back in it. So back in 2014, I started out as a food truck. We were coming out of that recession. It was harder to get money to start a restaurant. So food truck was the best route to go, it seemed. And it seems like it's paid off so far. But we started out 2014, and it's been a stepping stone process to get to this point where we're at now. It's great. We the name of the business is Pita Wheel, and we serve elevated street food on pita bread. And we can find everything from a Philly cheesesteak with fried pickles and sriracha aioli, or we've got a chicken fajita. We've got a bunch of funky things on the menu, which keeps people coming back for more.
That sounds delicious, even though it's not lunchtime here. It certainly starts making you hungry when you start talking about your food. And that's the worst part of my job doing these, is I'm always looking at people's food websites and getting hungry, which of course is the point of it, right?
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So how long after you started your food truck, I'm just going to start blasting you with a couple of questions.
Sure.
You started food truck in 2014. How long before you opened up? Was it the Gastonia location that came first?
So the truck, it took about a year and a half to get the truck open. And then 3 years after the truck, I opened up in an old convenience store, gas station. We call them superettes, pretty much anything to make a dollar out of this business, or this building, put it that way. It had a grill in it, convenience store, gas station, market. I mean, they cut meat there one time back in the day, check cash in place, you name it. So it was shut down, but I mean, it had all the plumbing, had all the, had a hood system in it. It had some equipment. So I was like, you know what? Rent's kind of high for me, anywhere else I was going to go. So I decided to just go over here to this old back roads country store and open it up as a Pita Wheel, because we already had a good following in Dallas and Gaston County. So I just assumed, well, people will follow us there if we open up as a restaurant. And it did happen. I actually kept the truck for a year to make sure the restaurant was going to last, because if you don't know where it's at, you're not going to find it. I mean, that's what type of building it is.
Well, it's, when you look on Facebook or you look on the website, it's an old school building, but it's got a lot of character. It's got a lot of charm. It's really neat. And you can see that it was at least a gas station at some point in time, or a service garage or whatever. But
so that was the Dallas one. And then,
that was Dallas. Okay.
Yeah. So that was Dallas. So all the pumps and stuff are gone. And after 2 years in, I started looking for a property I could buy, and to a better location, to increase sales, to become full service. So we went from a food truck, which was, order off the truck, and then we went to the convenience store location, which was counter service. Come to the counter, you order. We had a full bottle market of beer. We had wine, and pretty much you come to the counter, order. We would bring it to you, come around, ask if everything's okay, and take your trays and dump it, and that's how that location went. Now this one's full service, so the one that's in Gastonia, this is the cream of the crop for me right now. I'll tell you that much. It is a different animal altogether. Full service. You know, we went from 3 employees in the food truck to 15 in the Dallas location, and now the Gastonia location. I mean, I think we had 54 employees on last payroll. So it's definitely a different animal.
Yeah, you've really stepped it up a notch and become a real business, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now Dallas is still open too. We actually shut it down for about 4 months, and everybody was really sad, and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you shut it down." But my intentions were not to shut it down completely. I just kind of, let everybody think that's what was going to happen. But I was going to revamp it, open it back up because it was the right thing to do. Dallas definitely got us where we are today. So I didn't want to. The saying, he's outgrowing his britches, and so he forgets about everybody. So I didn't want that saying, or I didn't want that stigma. So Dallas is back open 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 9 o'clock, closed on Sunday, Monday. And Gastonia is 7 days a week, 11 to 10 during the week, and 11 to 11 on the weekends. We have live music. We have live music tonight too, from 6 to 9. So we do it every Wednesday and Saturday nights.
And beer.
Yes, lots of it. We are the #1 account for most beer vendors in the county. So
wow, that's impressive right there. That is something. And I think I saw it on the website or the Facebook page. I can't remember which. But you can kind of build your own 6-pack too, right?
Yes, that is correct. You can come in there, mismatch, however you want to do it, so you can get a variety and take home.
Well, that's pretty cool and unique, and I've seen that before, but it's not something you see very often. And so I'm sure all those folks in Gaston County enjoy getting to the Pita Wheel and having some great food, some live music, which is it's even more cool, and a beer and something to take home with you.
Yeah,
amazing. Well, we were talking earlier, and I'd love to kind of move to that point of the conversation where you're talking about adding a new brand to your portfolio. I know you're in the midst of trying to do that now. Could you share a little bit with us about whatever it is that you can share? I know there's probably some confidentiality issues flowing at this point, but kind of tell us how that came about and why you decided to go with a new brand as opposed to opening another Pita Wheel.
Well, for one, it's pretty close to all the other ones, even though Dallas and Gastonia are only 5 minutes away. This type of location would be it's another great property to put a Pita Wheel in it. Don't get me wrong. But as of right now, I'm going to put the brakes on Pita Wheel and just hang on for a little bit until maybe inflation stuff comes down a little bit to start trying to build somewhere else. Now, I would like to grow the Pita Wheel to another location, but I want to grow the one that's in Gastonia, the full service brand. And just looking around just your other downtowns, because I like to stick to Main Street. I don't know, there's just a lot of people like Main Street. It's coming back. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going back towards, is Main Street. But, if you look around Charlotte, you go to Concord, you can go to Kannapolis, Cornelius, Hickory. There's no restaurants that have been restaurants prior that are closed and waiting on somebody to come in, or there's not a good piece of property to, try to find an old building and fix it up yet. So, and everything's high. Everything is high. So now I don't want to build right now. I'd rather wait for it to come back down a little bit. So in the meantime, when there are deals out there of other restaurants that need some work done to them, or say the owners are just tired of being in the restaurant business because it can tie you down, and they want to sell and it's a good price, I want to take advantage of it. And that's what I'm doing here. It'll be in Cramerton. Not to give you that much. It'll be in Cramerton, North Carolina, which is another 5-10 minutes away from Gastonia. So, and it will be a deli concept. It will not be a Pita Wheel. You will not see pita bread at this location. And it'll be fun. It's a funky vibe. It's between this property in Gastonia and the location I'm about to acquire. It's probably the best 2 patios in Gaston County, to be honest with you.
Nice. So patio business is great for restaurants. I love those.
It is 95 degrees and people still want to sit outside for lunch, and it blows my mind because I'm completely opposite. I'm like, I want to be as cold as possible, but
Yeah.
there's a market for it. People like it. COVID, obviously, I get that too. So it definitely helps out any type of patio space.
Yeah, yeah. Just throw some fans out there, and when it starts getting cool, you throw up some of those. Go to Lowe's and get some of those heaters, right? The tall heaters.
Yeah. So I've got the I had them put in last January or February. The space array heaters is what they're called. I bought 4 of those for the Gastonia location, and it helps out. It does help out, especially when gets a little chillier, starting in November, December, and stuff. Time change. So they help out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm excited for you with the new deli concept in Cramerton. Do you have, I know you're still in the process of acquiring it. Do you have a target date for when you'd like to open up that bad boy?
So what'll happen is I want the easiest transition without being shut down, profit wise.
Yeah.
So I will take it over as the concept that it is now, and I will slowly but surely transition it into the new brand. So technically, they're open up Tuesday through Saturday at 5 days a week. Kind of like I'll give a farewell. Hey, this is what's happening. Or I'll open to the public first. Like, this is what's going on. I want you to hear from me first. That we will shut down maybe at the end of the month, and it'll open back up as a new brand. And I will be doing some facade changes and stuff to where I don't have to be shut down. Like I'll be shut down a few days for a garage door. I'll be adding to the property, but not much. There won't be any cutting up or jackhammering up, concrete or anything. I won't really need an architect. Already spoke to the health department, so it'll be an easy transition. So give it about 1st of October, and it should be rebranded. Put it that way.
Nice. Well, it's good to have a date in front of you and a goal, and that way you can get it done and bring something new concept on an old concept to the folks there, and hopefully the transition will be smooth and money will keep flowing and go up, which is what you're after.
Yeah, I need the staff too to transition this new brand. They've got a staff, so I want to build on top of that because you know how staffing is this day and time.
Yeah, staffing's been a critical issue for every restaurant owner that I've talked with over the last couple of months, and continues to be. How in your current stores, have you had any issues, or have you been able to hang on to your people, or how's that gone for you?
We have a culture here, and I think what really makes our culture so great with both the restaurants that we have now and hopefully going to the third one is, for one, all of us are pretty much independent. We're all local. I'm local as can be. I mean, and I think people really admire and respect that. Like, kind of started from really the bottom, from the beginning, and have grown. And we just take care of our customers, and we definitely get involved with the community. We support teams, and we support different types of clubs or whatever. And we're just been very fortunate with that aspect. So I think it's the team. They really just like being a part of it. If they're going to be in the industry, this is the best place to do it. 100% ownership. I don't have any friends or partners or family or you name it. So I call the shots, and I listen to when people have problems. I listen to them, and it's just trying to just keep them and make deals and just make everybody happy to keep the restaurants open. Put it that way. But we have fallen into back in June. We had a little tough time in the kitchen for sure. You had your main people, but you had this just revolving door of. I mean, we were hiring. I mean, I was wearing my kitchen managers out. I put it that way. So I sat everybody down and I said, you know what? I don't care who walks in that front door. If they want a job, you hire them. I don't care what their history is. You hire them. So we'll just keep hiring and see who sticks. And that definitely helped us out for a minute, especially in June. June was a little rough, but we're back at everything's fully staffed now for both locations. And that's why I'm taking the opportunity to acquire this next location and do another brand. We've got structure in place. I've got 6 managers that run Gastonia and 3 in Dallas, and I've got backup in case somebody doesn't come to work as well, or somebody's on vacation. We can fill that spot as well. So it's kind of just putting your aces in places, as my new general manager calls it. We need aces in places.
Hey, I like that. I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
And I'm making a note of it as you talk. I want to make sure I remember that. I'll borrow it from you at some point. But yeah, that's fantastic that you've been able to stay fully staffed and deliver service, to your clientele, and hopefully that'll be the same in your Cramerton location, and you'll be able to retain the people that you want, and fill up any other holes that you have. And how about, talking about another topic? How about your food costs these days? How, I know you've seen higher food costs because that's just what the world is all about. So, your prime cost, or at least your food cost part's going up. Your labor costs typically are going up. How are you mitigating that damage to your bottom line? Are you cutting hours, raising prices?
So I've never really cut hours on the staff, because at the end of the day, it's all about staying in business, no matter what. I mean, so with food costs on the rise, we'll definitely have to do price increases across the board. And we haven't heard any complaints because there is a lot of liquidity in the market. So I don't think people are really complaining about the prices as of yet, but who knows what will happen in the future. You may have to come down. If stuff comes down, we'll come down. If not, it'll just stay the same. But you take chicken wings are a big deal this summer. So we don't even have a price on it. It's just market. So if it fluctuates on us, we have to fluctuate on the menu as well. But to go back to the question, how do you, doing the bottom line, like I said earlier, I don't have any partners or friends, so I don't have to split any profits. So it definitely helps me out to make decisions. And the more high volumes that you do, you get better discounts on certain items. If you're doing a ton of beef a week, well, I can get a better discount than the new person that's about to open up across the street, because we're doing so much volume of the same thing. So that's another way to keep costs low. It's just volume. I mean, that's the game. They like that deal. So that helps out.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that, I haven't asked anybody before or yet anyway, so I'm going to ask you, on the beer side, are those alcohol prices going up as well, or are they staying relatively stable?
They it depends on who it is, and we've had to go up on it as well. Our liquor prices here, we went up last month. We just like maybe 50 cents on each drink or an ounce, and it's not a whole lot, but it definitely adds up. We've had to buy bigger bottles instead of using like a fifth. We have to use like a half gallon on our volume things that help us out there. Beer wise, they have went up, and beer, I don't really go up too much on the price. I kind of keep it very, I'm probably doing like around 43% beer cost, which isn't too bad. Food costs is last week, I do it every week, we did around 32%, and labor cost was around 29%. So my numbers are still relatively good. So beer, I don't mind keeping the prices fair to keep people in here. So, and that's kind of who we are anyways. We're a very fair value restaurant. You get what you can, it's kind of like the new fish camp, pretty much is how I put it. On Friday nights you go out and you get a ton of money for your ton of food for your money. It's kind of the same here, and the alcohol. So we that's who we are. I'd rather sell 2 plates than sell 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. And your food and labor are at a good spot. I mean, it's it's right in there in the sweet spot. I think the perfect sweet spot might be a little less than 60, but 57, 58 if you can get to there. But in this day and time, I think 60, a lot of people are way beyond that.
Yeah, right.
Especially on the labor cost side, and doing a lot of different things, especially some of the bigger restaurant brands who have 10, 15, 20 locations, and they're trying to hang on to a whole lot of people, and they're having to pay out bonuses and different things to find ways to hang on to their staff. And
I still pay out. I do bonuses. That is one thing I'll tell you about independent restaurants. And so what I think we can bring to the table by acquiring other independent restaurants are, they kind of all run about the same. They have their same system, and it's the same the whole entire time. And I believe in change. So bonuses are a big one, and I don't think any manager doesn't mind having a bonus. So whereas a lot of places don't get those bonuses, but your corporate restaurants will, depending on your labor and your food costs, that depicts, your bonus and what the percentage is. So we kind of do the same thing, and everybody's like, oh, we get a bonus when I hire a new manager. They're like, well, yeah, I do bonuses. Yeah, we do them. Like, oh, well, okay, that sounds good. So it helps out, and I don't mind paying it, because as long as we can stay in business, I'll keep paying it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's that's what it's all about. And you're in the growth mode and working to. I like to say, we're building our empire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do as well. And as is many of our listeners, a lot of them are still at the point of. Well, we've got a lot of listeners, I think, who haven't started yet, who are looking to start their own business, and then we've got those of us who maybe are at one location and kind of stuck in that independent restaurant space where you're so busy operating that business that you just can't see any extra bandwidth or time availability to be able to go out and think about how to grow it. Some people are happy there. They've got their one location, and that's their life. They've got a great quality of life and a good work-life balance. And I'll ask you this, speaking of work-life balance, how's yours? Are you able to manage all this and still take some time for yourself?
Yes, I do. But I also like to put in the hours still. Like you said, growth mode, that is definitely me. My typical schedule is normally Monday through Thursday. I'm in and out of the office and at the restaurants till about 9 at night. I get home between 9 and 10. And then I repeat. Come Friday, I work till about 5, and then Saturday I work till about 2. Sunday I work till about 2, and then so I choose to have that life. It's what I like to do. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. And I do have a fiance. I don't have any children as of yet, but she doesn't mind this. She works late during the week, so we kind of have a balance there with our work life. And I don't know. It's just I don't mind getting phone calls on Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock neither. I'll still take them no matter where I'm at or who it is. I'll still take them. So it's I don't know. Now it's okay to try and grow, but I was definitely there before. I was like, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this kitchen so I can actually try to grow? How do you do it? And then you just keep pushing and fighting.
Yeah, and it would seem to me that you got to start developing people, to
Yes.
kind of fill your space. And I think that, in some cases that may be the inhibitor of growth for some, is that, some owners are just so much, want to be in control of what's going on in the business that they can't let go. So being able to kind of back off and bring in talent and develop them is important. And it sounded like you mentioned you had 6 managers in Gastonia. You got 3 in Dallas.
Yep.
Lost track of Dallas there for a second. So were these employees that kind of grew into those roles, or were they off the street managers?
Majority of them, honestly, were promoted in-house. I would say maybe one or 2 actually come off the street, but majority of them were definitely, we definitely promoted in-house is what we did. So, and then, you had to go from like a restaurant where we only had a couple managers to this restaurant where you got 6 managers, and we had to put structure in place. And I think structure is the biggest thing. So then I think that's what a lot of independent restaurants don't have is structure. They have their certain structure, but say for instance, if you lose one manager, now they're stuck. Like, what do we do now? That it's like they get scared. They're like, oh man, like what's going to happen to the restaurant or the business? Whereas I don't have that, because I already have somebody in place that can take over a management role as soon as if something doesn't work out between us, or if they decide to go on to other things, we've already got that whole field before it happens. So that's a big one. Plus the structure, you got to have a general manager. I've got a kitchen manager, and there are 2 kitchen managers, front of the house, assistant front of the house, bar manager. I even got a personal assistant who does all my marketing and event directing. We've got a whole team right now, and put them in place before you grow. Aces in places.
Yeah, I like that. I really do. And I need to model myself after you, and I'm trying to work on that right now. I've been adding to my business a little bit, and I don't own a restaurant, but I work with the restaurant owners, so I feel your pain. And any business, whether it's a restaurant or just something that or anything else, you've got to put the right aces in places and get your infrastructure together and have a structure and have processes in place.
Yep.
And I have discovered as I started as a one-man operation and I'm trying to grow, that it's impossible without those processes and kind of figuring out, all right, what is it that I do, and how do I get that information into someone else's head so that they can follow it. And it's systems, it's processes, and putting those in place takes time. So congratulations on getting where you are today. How about, I mean, and one of the key things I think in terms of building that team, and it's really a leadership role, but it's recognizing talent in others. Have you had to kind of develop those leadership qualities, or was it kind of a natural thing for you, or how have you kind of changed as in your leadership strategy over the last few years?
I would say that some of the employees that I've had have definitely watched me grow as an operator, as owning the business. And so when I put them in place to become a manager, they actually try to develop themselves after the way I've done things. So pretty much, what would Chris do? What would Chris do in this situation? And so my Dallas store, they do that a lot, which I really like that. They literally don't like to call me unless they have to. And so that really takes a burden off of me, especially my general manager down there, Amanda. She's been with me the longest out of everybody. I don't have anybody from the original food truck, but she was with me when I opened up Dallas 4.5 years ago. So she has definitely been there a long time. She deserves everything that she has. Her position, she does a great job down there. And like I said, she really runs that store, and she does not like to call me unless she has to. Yeah. So whereas Gastonia, they still like to double check in with me to make sure this is okay. And I appreciate that as well. But then sometimes you get those phone calls where you're like, why are you calling me? Like you can take this on your own. What would you do? Like, type stuff. But Gastonia, they do a great job down here. Like I said, it is a different animal. Our sales here are probably 4 times as much as the Dallas location because of our full service atmosphere. We have a beer market here as well as Dallas does. Live music definitely brings them out. We do events. We're putting together an Oktoberfest this coming October, like the first weekend in October, I believe. So, but we still got to have those managers to run it. So when we get ready for events, we have meetings. We have bi-weekly meetings, so everybody's on the same page. So we're always evolving together. And I like to be there for those meetings, so I know what's going on. And they ask me questions, and I give them advice, and then I actually let them take the, like, what would you do? It's not 100% what I say, but what should we do as a company on this certain event? Like, what should we do? What actions should we take to solve this problem? So I definitely let them solve the problems too. It's not just me. I can't do it all myself. So letting them be able to solve problems and think for themselves, that helps out a whole lot. As long as you can grasp them when they're not getting too out of control,
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that's awesome that you've been able to grow yourself, as a leader of the business, and be able to help develop leadership in others. And I think the way you're doing it is a great process to help other people grow. And so many times people are unsure and they run to you, what do you want to do? And I love flipping it back. Well, suppose you were me, what in the heck would you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow and you got the company.
That's right. I agree 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So for all our folks listening out there, we've all got to get better at that. So, just throw that into your to-do list, and let's see if we can all get better at developing our people. And, that's going to help us on the retention side to be able to keep our employees. It's going to help keep them growing. It's going to, and as our company grows, it helps to create more opportunities for our staff to move up notches. And, I think that's one of the hardships of having, of not growing is that, you really lock down the opportunity for your people, and they're kind of stuck.
Other places. Yeah. I mean, I agree with what I'm saying. That's another thing that I've noticed for independent restaurants I've worked at. You can only go so high on the ladder, and so they know where they're at. So, I mean, if they don't think about it, I mean, sometimes people just get in the flow and they're okay. It's fine. Like, this is who I am. This is my job. It's great. If I need an extra day off or something, yeah, give it to them. But for us, we're wanting to grow, so we definitely promote within. And if people know that we're growing, they know that we're not just going to sit here and have the same job and do the same thing over and over. So as long as we're changing in the right ways, I think the managers really do like that about this independent restaurant overtaking that we're doing. So we're just getting started. This is our first acquisition, and I wanted to do it close by to see what would happen. And I'm about to have a lot of fun and some headaches and heartaches. But like I said, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. So I'm getting nervous. So after this, we'll see about maybe acquiring something in Greensboro, or maybe taking one of our concepts that way. So you just never know. Whenever the opportunity comes up, we're gonna try and take control of it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've learned from talking to other people is it seems to me that companies that are on the grow, so to speak, tend to make those leaps when opportunities arise, and you never really know where that's going to be. But whether it's an acquisition, somebody suddenly wants to put up that independent restaurant for sale, and you find it, or if you're expanding, one of your current brands, it's probably the real estate piece. You find an opportunity that fits your concept.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to go for it, even if you not necessarily looking in that space. So it's, I imagine since you're kind of doing both, that both of those, are at play with you. If you hear of a restaurant for sale and let's say it's the other way, and it's over in South Carolina somewhere. If it's the right place and the right fit and the right opportunity, I think you'd probably go that way, right?
100%. That is exactly right. Yeah. I guess I believe in starting small, because I started small. So with this local acquisition, it's going to prepare me and develop us for the next one, which might not be as close. It could. Yeah. Who knows where it'll be at? But as long as we can grow smart and have the right leadership and the right way to take things over, and we're definitely not going in and taking hostile takeovers like we're firing everybody and getting them out. No. We want to keep the staff that's there, and hopefully we can develop them into what we're doing, so then they can become a better leader for their area. Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're stretching yourself, because this is your first acquisition, as you said. So there's going to be new lessons to learn from this. It's totally different from building out your own concept, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be maybe not so fun some days, but when it's all said and done, you'll be even stronger, because you've done this particular type of growth and had the opportunity to go in and take over another business and help it improve and help their employees grow, and the whole process repeats itself. So that's awesome, and we're so glad that you're able to take a few minutes to talk to us today and share some of your ideas and thoughts. And we're probably getting pretty close to where I need to be respectful of your time and get you freed up to get back to growing. But I guess as maybe a final question, I'll just ask you, in general, would you have any specific advice for new entrepreneurs, or just people just getting started? Any words of wisdom or pearls of wisdom, as we say around here, that you might offer to those guys?
Yes. If you failed a plan, you plan to fail. I will tell you that much. That is something that stuck with me ever since the first time I heard it. And that's what we're doing now. We're planning And if we don't plan, you can assure it's going to fail. And just solve problems. I think something else I read somewhere was success is nothing but a bunch of problems solved over time. That is the real meaning of success. And, I hope we can continue to keep going. And anybody else out there who has any questions or advice, they can contact me. How I've got to where I'm at, I'd be glad to answer any questions, or they can email me. Either or. I always try to take time to motivate people or talk to people when they have questions, because I didn't know I definitely had a bunch of questions, and I'm still asking questions. So I've never been scared to ask a dumb question, as they say. And so I'll keep asking questions, whether it's 2 + 2 and I forget, but I'll still ask the question.
Yeah, and I didn't mention that before. A lot of times I like to ask about mentors and things like that, but we all need great mentors, for
Correct.
people to look up to, and people
Yep.
to be able to ask questions to. And I hope that our listeners, I hope each of you have resources for that. If you don't, reach out to me, reach out to Chris, reach out to any of the folks that we've talked to in our podcasts, and we'll all be glad to advise and give you our 10 cents worth, as we say over here in the South. It may not be, it's probably only worth a nickel now. It used to be 10 cents. Inflation got us.
Right.
But again, I really thank you for being here today. And for all of our listeners, this is Chris Davis with Pita Wheel, and he's in Gastonia in Dallas, North Carolina. If you haven't had the opportunity to get there, be sure to, next time you're down in and around the Charlotte area or in Gaston County specifically, go see them. Go visit one of the locations. Have some great food. Have hear some live music. Yep. Drink a beer. Have a drink. Kick back and relax. It just sounds like a great concept. And when you see the place, you'll understand what I mean. So I encourage everyone to go support Pita Wheel and Chris and his plans, and he's soon to have a new location coming up in Cramerton. Did I get it right?
Yep, that's it.
Hopefully in October. So we're going to stay in touch with Chris and make sure he hits that goal. And we'll be your accountability partner, Chris.
That works. That works. I like the sound of it.
And not that you don't have plenty of others already. And the fiance is probably the bigger one.
That is true. Yes, you gotta take care of her first before you take care of everybody else. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time today, and for all of our listeners, we appreciate you joining us for another episode of the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.